Depending on when you're watching this feels highly topical in light of recent news, as in what you're looking at right now. But in the unlikely event that war is declared by the United States in the middle of a football game, there are a few ways that you can go about it. Different strokes for different folks. You could delay the game in order to show the announcement made by the president to let people know, just so you know, things are about to happen and life is about to change forever as we know it. You could not show the announcement at all and just focus on football so as not to cause tension, violence, and political arguments, or potentially bring up traumatic memories that may have led to the war, like what happened with the New York Giants when George Bush declared war in Afghanistan in the wake of the terrorist attacks on September 11th, which you can learn more about by clicking the card in the upper right corner. Or you could wait for a break in the action to inform people about what's happening, like playing the speech by the president at halftime of the contest. Whichever option you choose is going to have its pros and cons, and there is no one right answer. Play it live and delay the start of the game, and some people are going to be upset that you're wasting their time. Show it during the game, and some people are going to be upset that they came to football for escapism and now are subjected to politics and war and terror. Don't show it at all, and some people are going to be upset that you kept them out of the loop. No matter which option you choose, there are going to be people who are not happy. Having said that, I can assure you, with every fiber in my body, that what's about to transpire is the absolute wrong way to do it and is a model example of what not to do. It's almost like making a pizza. Some people prefer cheese, some like pepperoni, some like gluten-free, and no matter which option you serve, people are going to be upset. But if you serve them pizza with melted tissue paper and toenails, everyone's going to look at you like you're crazy, and no one's going to like it or make sense of it. Because in 2001, during this war right here, that's exactly what the Baltimore Ravens did when a war was declared in the middle of a game, and they decided to do the literal dumbest thing possible that roughly a quarter century later deserves a deep dive today. And you might be able to tell where this one is going already. Leave it to a team who at one point wanted to be an expansion team named the Baltimore Bombers to do something stupid. Because this is the story behind the Baltimore Ravens and one of the dumbest moments in franchise history. Make sure you hit that like button down below, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss a single video that we post on the channel, because we post every single day on here about the weird and the wacky history of the NFL with stories like this one that you might not have heard of before. So if you like that sort of stuff, then this is definitely the place for you. Thanks in advance for liking and subscribing and for joining this community. And with that in mind, let's talk about the time that war was good for something, as in one of the dumbest decisions you'll see. Before I talk about the actual incident in question, we need some context to understand the game that this was taking place in, and how said game was going. It's October 7th, 2001. It's week 4 of the NFL season, and we've got a big AFC Central battle on our hands between the Baltimore Ravens and the Tennessee Titans. These teams were already fierce rivals after what transpired the previous season in 2000, where it felt as though every game was a bloodbath and the teams met in the divisional round, with the Ravens winning that game 24-10 and eventually winning the Super Bowl for the first time in franchise history. As the defending champions, the Ravens entered this game with a 2-1 record, tied with 3 other teams for the top record in the division, and with the Pittsburgh Steelers only at 1 loss, having played just 2 games. Bottom line, with 5 teams at 1 loss in the division, there wasn't a lot of separation at the top. So every game, especially those against divisional opponents, counted. And the Titans had to have this one. 3 weeks into the season, and they were one of just 2 winless teams in the AFC alongside the Buffalo Bills. Lose this game and drop to 0-3, and your odds of making the playoffs, and especially your odds of winning the division, go from slim to practically non-existent. And sure enough, the Ravens won this one, as the Titans would not be getting the revenge for the AFC divisional round loss the previous year anytime soon. Because when the final whistle sounded, it was the Ravens who finished the game out in front, dominating from start to finish and taking it by a final score of 26-7, with Tennessee's only touchdown coming on special teams. So their offense was completely held in check. The Ravens more than doubled the Titans' first downs, winning that battle 23-9. On the ground, it wasn't even a competition. Whereas the Ravens ran for 207 yards and over 5 yards per carry, the Titans had just 47 yards on less than 3 yards per carry, with star running back Eddie George picking up just 26 yards on 13 carries and having one of his least effective days as a pro. The Ravens never turned it over while forcing two themselves. The Titans played super sloppy football, committing over 100 yards of penalties, and the Titans did nothing on 3rd and 4th down, going just 2 for 15 in those situations. Prior to the 4th quarter, the Titans had 11 drives, which resulted in 10 punts and 142 yards of offense. Only 2 of those drives picked up 10 or more yards, and prior to the 4th quarter, the Titans actually had more drives with negative yardage than drives with 10 or more yards. Long story short, that's really freaking bad. The Ravens' defense was dominant and basically ended Tennessee's season on this day. However, that was not the main story from October 7th. Rather, the main story was this thing right here, which I'm not going to dive too much into since I already dove into it in a previous video. So I'll just give the quick version. After the terrorist attacks on September 11th, the desire for the United States to go to war in the Middle East was at an all-time high, and President Bush, wanting to punish those responsible for the attacks, declared war during this statement right here. In a speech made at 1 o'clock Eastern, as in, right as this game kicked off, Bush spoke to the public and told Americans that the United States was now officially at war, and that the first strikes had been conducted. The USA was going to go into the Middle East, and life as we knew it would never be the same. This announcement was huge for obvious reasons, but you also might notice that this announcement came right in the middle of football. At this point, teams have the option to delay the game and show the announcement on the video board, which is what the Philadelphia Eagles did for their game against the Arizona Cardinals, not show the announcement at all and let people find out on their own, which is what the New York Giants did, or show the announcement at halftime. In other words, each team had leeway and freedom to do whatever the heck they wanted with this. We only knew that the announcement was coming at 12:30 Eastern Time. So this is one of those, at least hopefully, once-in-a-lifetime circumstances where there's nothing in the rulebook or protocol on how to deal with it, and how to deal with your country going to war in the middle of the game. So the NFL was extremely cooperative with its teams in terms of how to deliver the message, if they wanted to deliver the message at all. And with that, the Baltimore Ravens decided that the best course of action would be to show this speech right here at halftime. Don't delay the game and potentially send fans into a panic or disrupt your team from their rhythm. But also, you should probably let people know, because they're going to find out sooner or later. At halftime, you can play the speech uninterrupted, since it was shorter than the actual halftime break, and you can give people the option of either knowing or not knowing, since if you're not watching on the video board and just want to hang out in the concourses, you can do that. Seems like a good strategy, right? Can't really hate on that too much. And with the Ravens up 17-0 at the halftime break, and President Bush speaking on tape delay on the video board, announcing that the United States was going to war at a time where 93% of Americans wanted to go to war, which was a number that would shift dramatically the other way as the years went on, the vibes were good. Most fans stayed in their seats, and it was reported that at 3 separate moments during the address, the fans cheered and even gave a standing ovation. So far, it seemed as though this plan was going well. But when the speech ends, you need something to play. If you've ever been to an NFL game, during the breaks, there's never dead silence. You always have to hear some sort of music during the breaks in the action. And the Ravens, considering the moment and the gravity of it, wanted to play a patriotic song. Again, just about everyone wanted to go to war, The crowd was loving this announcement, and patriotism was at an all-time high in the United States. Play something to get the crowd going. So, after this speech right here was done, what song seems appropriate to play in this situation, considering those circumstances? You could play God Bless the USA by Lee Greenwood. Perfect choice. You could play Living in America by James Brown. Don't hate that whatsoever. You could play a bunch of other patriotic songs available in your library, or a song about fighting and being tough and rising to the occasion. All you have to do is play a patriotic song and you're good. Which is why the Ravens, over the public address system, after the speech was done, decided to play Bruce Springsteen's Born in the... You know they didn't. No. Time out. There's no way. There is no way that they played Born in the USA after this announcement was made. You're kidding me, right? Their patriotic song to celebrate the USA going to war was Born in the USA? I'm sorry, what? Okay, let's talk about Bruce Springsteen and what happened at halftime of this game right here. The boss is great. As a musician, he's an absolute legend, and there's a reason that he's played at halftime of the Super Bowl before, and why the NFL wanted him to play at the Super Bowl all the way back in the 1970s, which you can learn more about by clicking the card in the upper right corner. He still sells out arenas and stadiums everywhere he goes, and for good reason. And Born in the USA is a great song. It might be his most iconic song, all things considered. When you think of the boss, the first song that might come to mind is Born in the USA. But this is like playing Every Breath You Take by the Police at your wedding. Because I don't know how many people need to hear it, but Born in the USA is not a pro-America song and a pro-war song. Literally the song War, which explicitly has the lyrics, "What is it good for? Absolutely nothing," and repeats that over and over again, is less explicit about how bad war is than Born in the USA. If you've never heard the lyrics to Born in the USA, the song is very explicitly about how the USA treated its veterans like crap after the Vietnam War. It explicitly mentions how veterans had trouble getting jobs afterwards, and how the government did a terrible job helping them get back on their feet and getting adjusted to life after the war when they returned. It talked about a friend who died in the war, talked about how veterans who were of a perfectly sound mind before the war ended up in prison afterwards because they were changed so much, and it talked about how these veterans were stuck in a cycle of hopelessness with no way out, as their lives have been permanently altered and scarred forever, and the government refused to do anything about it. This was not the first song like this, by the way. Whether you agree with the message that Bruce Springsteen is trying to convey or not is up to you. But there is no universe, none whatsoever, where you can interpret this as a woohoo, America rocks, let's go to war and fight the bad guys song. The irony in this is genuinely astonishing. One writer even said, the boss's signature song is an ironic choice being played at stadiums given its actual subject matter. But at least the chorus sounds patriotic, so why quibble? Yeah, as Alanis Morissette says, a little bit ironic, don't you think? And it's not like this is something they have to think about and where it can be interpreted a bunch of different ways. It's not like there's a metaphor that you think about but on the surface seems like something else and way more innocent. It's not like it's just one line of a song. The lyrics are so explicit and how the message is trying to be conveyed that if you paid attention for literally 1 second past the opening chords, you'd know very quickly that this song is probably not the song you should be playing or the song that you think it is. Heck, you want to play any other song by Bruce Springsteen? Go for it. Santa Claus is coming to town in September? Screw it. Why not? The Ravens could have been playing the Eagles during this game, and you could have played Streets in Philadelphia, and it genuinely would have been more appropriate than playing Born in the freaking USA. We're off to war now. You're going to serve our country, and you're going to be scarred for life afterwards and get nothing out of it and be treated like crap when you come back. Time to party, baby. Let's go. But let's be honest. As soon as I said the part about having to play a song afterwards, you probably figured out where this was going. Because it seems like someone prominent not knowing what Born in the USA is about is just a regular day that ends in Y. No one in the Ravens chain of command stopped to say, hey, let's not do this. Good job, guys. Look, the Ravens were a heck of a team on the field. They had one of the greatest defenses of all time the year before, they won the Super Bowl, and they followed that up during the 2001 season with an appearance in the postseason for the second straight year, making it to the divisional round. But as smart as they may have been on the field, off the field, not so much. Because on this day in 2001, their decision-making with how to proceed following George W. Bush's speech was the furthest thing from a glory day. Be sure to like and subscribe if you have not done so already, as it helps the channel out a lot, and check out my other channels, JG8 for the history of college football, JG7 for the history of baseball, and JG9 News, where we talk about all things happening in the NFL. Join me every Wednesday night at 8 p.m. Eastern, where we'll play live NFL trivia for cash prizes. And make sure to join me live, as we're on stream just about every single day. And thanks to all our Patreon members and our YouTube members for helping out the channel. See how you become a member and show your support financially in the description down below.